Today I'd like to talk to you about net neutrality. You know, that thing people keep saying about, they keep talking about it. It's apparently a very important subject. And this is a visual medium, so I'm gonna put this, footage that I recorded from a shitty Ouya game earlier, a long time ago. If you somehow haven't heard of net neutrality, I'll get to that in a minute, but before we go to that, the most important thing is that you should care. A lot of people, they don't really think about it, they don't like to think about it, they don't want to do stuff, they just kind of want to watch their TV or their YouTube or whatever and let things be how they will be. And that, my friends, is not a good idea. If you don't do anything about this, if you don't write in and tell them, hey, this is a bad idea, or hey, this is a good idea. You know, if you think it's a good idea, then, you know, that's a valid opinion. I'm not going to say what my opinion is at the moment, but just you should care and you should voice your opinion on this because this is an important issue and it affects all of us. If you're listening to this, you got it through the internet and it's an issue about the internet. So yes, it affects you. So I can say it affects all of us because the people I'm addressing is internet people. And that was bad grammar. But moving on. So I'm going to do my best to present both sides of the argument. From the internet service provider side, the internet was originally pretty much text. And there are some audio files and some video files, but those were rare exceptions. And primarily people used their internet connection to browse these texts. One bit of text was just like every other bit of text. That's where kind of net neutrality came from. The idea that all data is equal online. The problem with that idea is that not all data online is equal. Video is a huge amount of data, and it has to be streamed very fast in order for you to see it at the time you're downloading it. Companies like Netflix, Hulu, Amazon Prime's video streaming, those kind of things, you know, YouTube, I'm posting this on YouTube. They use a lot of data that wouldn't be used if not specifically for their existence. So, the argument from the ISPs is that they have to put in a ton of infrastructure and work very hard to get the internet speeds up for these streaming services. And specifically, just let's look at Netflix for a moment. Netflix takes up a huge amount of bandwidth, and ISPs specifically have issues sometimes with delivering Netflix. And the first thing people ask for when they go to an ISP is, oh, is this going to be fast enough for Netflix? The ISPs have to cater to that. And so the ISP's argument is that they should be able to get a little money from Netflix, who will then, of course, pass the charge on to the user, or maybe get a little charge from the user directly to say, hey, we need to cover these extra costs because you're using way more data than someone who isn't using Netflix, and it's not fair to everyone else to charge them extra if they're not even using it. That's their argument. On the other side of the debate, okay, so you want to create a fast lane. That's what they're calling it, a fast lane. You know what that actually means? It's not going to be any faster. There is no, oh, you pay extra for this premium faster service. No, what they're going to do is they're going to take the current internet speeds, and that is the fast lane. Then everything else is going to drop into this lower tier that is slower. And there's a huge conflict of interest here because these companies, Comcast, Verizon, Time Warner Cable. I think Time Warner Cable and Comcast are more of an issue than the others, but I'm not quite sure on that. They have their own content that is TV shows, movies on TV, movies themselves, that are directly competing with Netflix and Hulu and other online streaming services because it's the same kind of content. YouTube is kind of an exception, but at the same time, there are movies on YouTube. You can pay to watch movies on YouTube. There are movies on YouTube you can pay to watch. If you haven't seen that, it's a thing. It's kind of hidden. But basically, there's a huge conflict of interest, and the ISPs are going to use this to slow down the things they don't like Netflix, Hulu, YouTube, maybe even Twitch. You know, these things that are competing with their other services that they, are losing money from, and they just want to shut them down. And if any new business comes along and they want to start up, they can't, because they'll just be in the slow lane, and they can't afford for the fast lane. And then that's not even going into how it could turn into Oh, you want to use Facebook or Twitter or social media? Well, that's an extra 99 or an extra $4.99 for our social media package for the internet connection. Or oh, you need to browse Wikipedia or like, I don't know, research websites. Oh, well, you need our students research package for only 99 cents, and they'll pretty much nickel and dime you to death with the internet. Rather than being all data equal, it will be, well, you have to pay for which bit of the internet you want. The other problem with that is actually just ignoring for a moment all of that. Having the internet segmented up in America, it'll threaten the stability of the actual infrastructure. At least that's part of the argument. Like I said, I'm giving you two sides to this argument because there are legitimate points to both of them. The ISPs say that, we shouldn't have to pay for Netflix's high bandwidth usage that requires us to buy extra stuff just to run our own little thing. And the users are going, you want to divide up the internet into lower and higher tiers, and oh, you have to pay for this extra service or pay for that extra service when, hey, I bought my internet. This is how I want my internet. So that's pretty much the argument going on. I think I've made it clear before what side I'm on. Whether I have or not, I will not be saying that here. I just wanted to present both sides of the argument and say that you should care. Now that that's over, in the description I've linked to some videos made by some other people. Most of them, they have their clear opinion on which side they stand on, and just, take a look at what they say. Don't get all your information from one source. That's another thing I want to say. Don't just take what I say and be like, oh, he's right. Or take what I say and be like, oh, you bastard. Actually go out there and check out things. And unfortunately, most of the links I have are kind of on one side. I'm hoping I can find this clip that is for the other side, or, I'm hoping I can find a couple other things to add in as links that are kind of give more of an overall view. And I don't know if you heard that ding in the background, but if you did, I'm sorry. And that's pretty much that. Thanks for watching. See you in space.